How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here and welcome back to today's update news, because of course there is a brand new update in World of Tanks, so we're going to have a look at everything you need to know about this update. There is a free earn operation challenge for a vehicle, as well as the brand new Jaguar I, which is supposedly a competitor to the Weasel Toe, which is of course the Cold War vehicle with the missile launchers that are supposedly very balanced, and of course being able to go super fast. So we can have a look at all of this and I will cover it for you. But first, let's have a look at the premium contract, which is for the FV 1066 Senlac. Now, straight off the bat, if you're thinking about completing this operation, you're wondering, should I actually bother getting this vehicle? My first thing to you is that this tank is not particularly too great. I mean, it has a few nice aspects and we'll get into those as we go through. But to be quite frank with you, this tank is kind of mediocre. I mean, it gets pretty lackluster penetration. It's a tier 8 light tank for the UK, or at least the British line, whatever you want to call it. But essentially it's a fairly fast, but not particularly the greatest damage per minute light tank for the British line at tier 8. Now, is this tank absolutely useless? No, but it does have some problems that you'll find if you do decide to play this thing, and that is that, you know, you have pretty lackluster penetration, so you're going to have to fire a lot of premium in this. You also have pretty low damage, so you're going to have to, you know, hit people a lot to make this thing work in terms of dealing a ton of damage. It has decent view range, 400 meters. That's good for a tier 8 light tank, or at least okay. And that allows you to spot for your team, and you really have to play this as a hybrid light tank where, you know, you're going and trying to spot whilst also making sure that you can pinpoint out those tanks that are left alone, and then you can go in, you can circle them, deal your damage, and you're not going to be able to bounce from the back of tanks, from the side of it, that sort of thing. Whereas if you are trying to play this as more of an aggressive light tank that's capable of just charging at someone front on, yeah, this tank just isn't going to be able to do it. It also gets no armor whatsoever, so you're going to be penned by everything. It does get 10 degrees gun depression, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, the tank is, to all intents and purposes, a bit of a glass pea shooter. So it's not even a glass cannon, it's a pea shooter. And yeah, you have to play it like that. You have to play very passively in this thing to make it work. You have 35 horsepower to ton ratio, which puts it up there with some of the best tanks in the game, at least in terms of being able to maintain your speed and get up to top speed, acceleration, that sort of thing. This tank's pretty good. Do I think that this tank is going to be like ridiculously good for everyone? No, I think it's going to be fairly mediocre slash maybe slightly better than average. And of course, I will do a full review of this tank in the game coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But in terms of the operation, how can you actually be able to pick it up? Well, it is a contract operation, so you can actually go ahead and complete this contract, and you have to sign it, which is kind of sucks, but at the same time you're getting a premium tank. So Wargaming are moving towards this. We've had a few premium contracts as opposed to earn operations within the challenges page. But yeah, I mean, you have to sign the contract. It means you can't sign any other mercenary contract at the same time, so you want to make sure that you are definitely wanting this tank before you go ahead and you know, sign the contract, or at least try and go towards this tank, because you need about 500,000 XP to be able to complete this contract, which is a lot for a tier 8 light tank. And if you aren't particularly too fussed on it in the end, yeah, you're going to feel a little bit annoyed that you spent all of the time getting it. So just bear what I've said in mind, and of course take a look at the review before you decide on definitively completing this operation to be able to get this light tank. I'm sure that there are plenty of reviews on World of Tanks, at least in terms of the YouTube, so you can always have a look there if you're eager to sign it and make sure that you're going to get this as quickly as possible. But I will be doing one very, very soon, of course, after the other vehicle that is part of this week, which is the Jaguar I. And we covered this in the news article recently, whereby, you have the Jaguar I, it is that tow missile, it gets 1450 damage with one of its rockets, it gets 65% silver bonus, it goes 70 kilometers an hour, doesn't have the best power to weight ratio, it's essentially a Leopard shoved with an ATGM instead of a turret. That's kind of how this tank plays. Imagine a Canonian Jagdpanzer 105, but it has a tow launcher on the top of it. It's kind of what the Leopard or the Jaguar I is all about in Cold War. So, yeah. Do I think it's going to be as good as the Weasel Tow? Probably not. It's much bigger. It's slower. It's not able to maintain its speed. It gets slightly more alpha, but yeah, I mean, it's probably not the best. But yeah, you can make of that what you will. Of course, it's very expensive. The base cost of this tank is also very expensive. 11,500 for the base, 13,700 for the loaded, and ultimate is 16,000. Yeah, very expensive for this sort of tank. But, make of that what you will and decide on whether you want to actually get this thing or not. But for me, probably not worth it. I would rather wait until the Weasel Tow goes on sale again, and then maybe get that one if you're wanting a truly competitive vehicle. But if you're just after one that, could be cool, looks cool, might be more interesting, and is a little bit harder to play than something like the Weasel Tow, then maybe this one is for you. But let me know if you've tried it out, if you have it in the game, what you think of this vehicle, or if you're coming up against it, let me know as well. And maybe we'll add that sort of section into the review where I look and review some of the comments that you guys have been saying. But moving away from that, of course, the Senlac, but then we also have the Damage Dealer event or challenge, and essentially all you have to do is place in the top 5 damage dealers. You get 25,000 silver, and you can do it twice per day, so maximum of 50,000, kind of sucks. Not particularly too great of an operation. And then we get enemies hit, so this is damage 5 or more vehicles in a battle will give you 500 vehicle XP, and you can do that 5 times per day. Yet again, pretty mediocre. It gives you 2,500 vehicle XP in the entirety of completing this 5 times. So, yeah, not great. Anyway, moving swiftly on then, the on track to the M1A2 Abrams. So this is the Cold War tech tree. You can get silver discounts between Era 1 and Era 2. And essentially then you move on from the later half of Era 2 all the way up to the Detente will get 30% silver discount. And you'll also get a 25% vehicle XP when you're playing in any tank leading up to the M1A2 Abrams. So pretty decent. And I think for a lot of people, this will be a nice little starting point to go into Cold War, since it is a lot cheaper to buy some of the vehicles as opposed to standard when you start playing the game. So maybe it's worth doing it. In addition, we've also then got the Cold War control mode test, which is from the August 11th, which is the Friday. So over the weekend, we're going to be able to play Cold War, but with the control mode. Control mode is that domination-based capture the flag sort of game where you hold the flag and you get points as it ticks along. If the enemy get into the cap and take you out, they'll then reset your kind of timer. It'll go down and then they'll start earning points. And then you reach like a point total, and whoever reaches the point total first will win the game. So that's kind of how it works. It's like domination from pretty much any of the other kind of first-person shooters that you can play, whether that's on console or whatever you're playing. It's basically that same generic game mode, which is nice to see, and it's interesting because you can respawn in this mode, which is good. So yeah, let me know what you think of this, whether you think it's going to be good, or if there could be some tweaks, because yeah, I certainly feel like there could be a few tweaks based on the World War II performance of the control mode. But anyway, moving off, then we have the Wargaming's 25th anniversary celebrations round 2, which has its own article. Of course, we had the first round of celebrations where we got 50% off of skins and stuff. This time around, we have got 50% off commanders and commander skill respec. So if you want to change your crew, it will only cost 45 gold now, as opposed to the 90 gold at the moment in time. That will last for a whole week. So you got this week to be able to do it. And of course, get your commanders if you want them, but they're quite expensive. And then as a bonus, there is a vehicle XP to free XP conversion bonus. 1 gold equals 35 free XP, which is always nice, and I'll be taking advantage of this myself to hopefully grind through some of the Type 5 line, because you know how much I love playing those super heavy vehicles. Yeah, can't wait to free XP pretty much the entire line. But anyway, now that my wallet is basically broken, we'll move on. And we'll talk about more of the Wallet Warrior, and that is the Kunze-Panzer. And this tank is actually very interesting. It's a tier 9 medium. This is not to be confused with the KPZ 50T, which is the better of the two, but it's still quite an interesting tank. It gets 390 alpha, fairly okay reload, nothing spectacular, but should be quite a nice one to actually jump in and play. Feel like people always miss out on tanks like this, so just, potentially give it a look if you're interested, but they are quite expensive to actually purchase. But if you want them on its own, the tier 9 Kunze-Panzer is going to cost you 12,500 gold, or the T22, which is the medium, which is the tier 10 that has sturdy turret, reliable mobility, and a good rate of fire. I don't know if we're talking about the same tank, but it's not particularly a great one, and I think it's one that you would probably avoid, or at least if you are after a tier 10 heavy tank that is a premium. There are plenty of other options that I would rather go for, but this one's on sale, maybe you want to get it. And if you're a collector, then this is a good time to purchase it as well. And as if that wasn't as good as good in quotation marks, by the way, it's not particularly great. We have got the various different tanks for free XP. So you can pick up some of the tier 10s for free XP, which is nice, including the Object 260, the 268 V5. So that's the turreted Object 268. The WZ-111 Quillin, which is good. The 121B, which I need to test out. And in fact, I might even try and get that one. And yeah, that is pretty much it in terms of the tanks. But let me know what you think of these tanks in general. But we can jump back to the article. We're trying to keep it quick and concise within this one. And we've then got the August Tank of the Month, which has been available for a little while. It's the Talon T44-122. This tank is okay. It has high alpha for a medium, but at the end of the day, it's not insane. You get very low penetration, which kind of makes this tank a little bit sucky. But at the same time, it can work. Is it one that I would say go out and buy right now for $10? Probably not, but if you want a premium for only $10, maybe this is something you'd be interested in. And if you like the Soviet medium tanks with higher alpha, then maybe this one is also for you. Weekly sales wise, we have got a weekly deal on 1.5 times silver boosters. It's 53% off, so I mean it might be worth it for you. And then the weekly deal is for the Wojciech Panzer V G, which is essentially a tier 6 Panther, if you get what I mean. The tank is pretty decent. I just think, it's just another Panther at tier 6. Something like a VKM, that sort of style of gameplay where you have a little bit of armor, but you can't rely on it. And it has fantastic kind of rate of fire to deal a lot of damage and track opponents and have some good games down at the low tiers if you're so inclined. And then the super savings, we've got medium boosters on sale for 50% off, including ×3 vehicle XP, ×6 commanders, and 1.25 silvers. Pretty mediocre. Excuse the pun. Large boosters, we have got ×4 vehicle XP, ×8 commanders, and 1.5 times silvers at 50% off, which is okay, but a little bit larger than life than the previous. I apologise. And then extra large boosters, which is the kind of triple XL bundle that Wargaming are releasing with the ×5 vehicle XP boosters, 10 times commander XP boosters, and 2 times silver boosters, which is the best one of the lot. 50% off. I don't know, not particularly amazing, but there they are. That is what you can get. And there's also key cards which give you, you can purchase, but they're not on sale at the moment. They're there as when you want to buy them, or potentially try your luck with trying to get some premium tanks out of those. Contracts wise, you've got the hard case and the long reach available at the moment. Hard case is very good, and I actually recommend it, but it may be a little bit too late for you to be able to complete it. It doesn't give you a whole lot of time to be able to finish it off until September 4th. But you've got a little while to be able to complete it, just under a month. So if you're playing the game pretty long, then maybe it's something you can do. Resolutions, of course, at the end of the season, you then complete another stage of the resolutions kind of event, and once you complete 5 seasons, you'll be able to get the Calliope T-34 for free, which is a M4 Sherman with a missile launcher that is actually coming to World War II. So, yeah. Let's hope the missile launcher isn't too broken. It's actually a free missile, so you can't home in or anything like that. Once you've fired it, it goes directly straight, so you can't really do anything with regards to, homing in on people, that sort of thing. Anyway, then we had the Malo last week, which is a very disgusting vehicle that you can have a look at the review on from last week, which you can see on the channel. Long haul, of course, as usual, and that's basically what we've had this week. It's quite a lot of stuff there for you to have a look and digest through. And of course, if you want any of the reviews on the Season Pass tanks, so far we've done pretty much all of them, so you can go back just a few days on the channel and have a look at those if you're interested in the Season Rank 100 rewards, whether that's Cold War or the World War II mode, and also the Mauer Breaker in there as well, because, why not try and make myself suffer by playing that tank, which is the tier 75 reward, and then there's the AC4, which is the season rank 25 reward that you probably should all have by this point. So yeah, maybe I'll do a quick little review of that vehicle. It's nothing too spectacular, but it might be interesting to test out that little beast. But either way, hopefully that's covered all of the news for this update, including the Leopard 1. Be sure to let me know what you think of the tank and also what you think of the Senlac as well, since it is a free contract operation that you can take advantage of. But other than that, hopefully you had a great today. And of course, if you want me to do any specific videos, let me know in the comment section. I'll try my best to try and bundle them all in the next coming schedule that we've got planned. And yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what you guys think. If you have any extra questions, let me know. And see you in the next one, hopefully. Goodbye.